Hi guys, today I'm here with the Hyundai i20N, which originally was just a standard mundane runaround, but now Hyundai have added that all-important N badge, and it means it's a whole little pocket rocket of fun. And I'm going to see what it's actually like to drive and whether it lives up to all the expectations. Let's hit the road. The i20N was introduced in 2021 with some obvious upgrades from the standard i20. These include a 10mm suspension drop, WRC rally-inspired looks, roof spoiler and 18-inch alloy wheels. Underneath, there is a 4-cylinder 1.6-litre turbocharged engine producing 201 brake horsepower and 203 pound-feet of torque, paired nicely with front-wheel drive. This doesn't have your standard i20 performance either, with engine intercooler, 350 bar fuel injections, the gearbox reinforced, chassis stiffened, new anti-roll bar and upgraded suspension. This makes for a totally transformed car. And inside we find a lot of interior features shared from its big brother, including the 6-speed manual gearbox. So with all the updates and that N badge plastered everywhere, does that mean it shares the right to that N badge like its bigger brothers the Kona and the i30N? Let's find out. Job number one, drive mode, change to sport. Oh, they also do it on the steering wheel. So 6-speed manual, 201 brake horsepower, nice bitey clutch, and it weighs, at curb weight, 1,190 kilograms. So quite light and nippy as well. So let's see whether it still packs a punch. The initial impressions is the engine's quite dull. It doesn't have as much as a kickback as I would have expected, but it is only a 1.6 litre. However, it does pick up speed really quickly, and I think it's one of those that you get used to how to drive this car specifically rather than just driving it like anything else. It's set in a very unique class because it's not quite like the hot hatches of Golf R, but it is against things like the GTI. And actually, this seems a lot more fun and a lot more quirky than the Golf GTI. Such a little engine, it actually does rev to 7,000, so it keeps going and going longer than you expect a car like this to do, which makes for the driving so much fun. Straight road. 0 to 60 is 6.7 seconds in this, but we have got the manual box. So let's just have a little play and see what it's like. A little bit of wheel spin. But you're hitting 60 in second gear, which for a car with such a small engine is actually really impressive. And a nice smell of burning rubber. The chassis is known to be really good in these, and paired with that stiff sport steering, when it's put in that Sport Plus mode, it makes for a really fun B-road car because it's really zingy, really nippy and just a whole lot of fun. As standard, the i20N has a limited slip differential, which is actually quite rare in a standard car because in the old i30Ns you had to have the performance pack for that. So they knew it was that good, they had to add it into this, and it makes a huge difference. The car and handling in general is best when you're coming out of the corner. The front really bites down with the torque stiffening and you can put the power down out of the corner, which for me is the best part because it's slow in, fast out. The suspension is very firm, especially in that Sport Plus mode, but you're not necessarily buying one of these to just run to the shops and back every day, all day. You want that bit of excitement on those B roads and having that option of having the fun drive. So it's something you make do with that when you are going to shops and it's a little bit more bumpy and a little bit more firm, you grit your teeth and you deal with it. The brakes are really suited to the car. They stop it just in enough time that you need, and if you really stomp on them, the back end even does like a little bit of a wiggle. So it means that they are working. They're stopping the front brakes, tucking the nose in, which in things like cornering, it means you can actually rotate the car, but but it also means that you can stop in enough time as well. So late braking can be quite fun. The N stands for Nürburgring, which means this car has done its fair share of laps around there to be qualified for that status. Things like the 6-speed manual gearbox, which comes from the i20N, is fantastic. It changes gears brilliant with all the quirks like rev matching. It also has some really fun things like a lap timer, acceleration timer, all that sort of stuff, and fun, quirky things that, to be honest, on the road you'll never use, but it's still very cool to have. Anyone who tracks Clios, which is a big competitor to the i20N, knows that they're susceptible to a wheel lift on a corner, and this can do it too. It has been proven that when you're really pushing it, that rear inside wheel can lift, which is a very cool feature, and it just shows how in the market it is, because Clios have been renowned as the best kind of car for that. And now they've stopped production. This is the new kid on the block, and it is really taking that over. There's no body roll, it's really settled, and it's a car that's very much put together that you could go and take it on a track and have a lot of fun with it. And that's something I really want to do. But it's also a car that you can nip to the shops and you can have it as your city run around, your town run around. I mean, I'd be quite happy going to and from work in it, but you know, as soon as you get on your favourite road on the way home, you can put your foot down and a smile will come to your face. By the way, the track button in this doesn't mean track as in a racetrack, it means radio or CD. Got so excited. The i20 was initially inspired by the WRC rally car. Unlike the GR Yaris, where it's got a lot of performance, chassis changes and everything like that, this is the pure looks of it, and I mean, it does look epic. It's never going to compete against the hot hatches like a Golf R, an RS3, or even a BMW M140. This is in its own unique sector, such as the Clios, you've got the Golf GTIs, but they always feel like they're lacking something. I mean, the Clios are being discontinued for a start, and the GTI is fun, but it still feels like a normal Golf, whereas this, it is completely different to the standard i20. And even down to the performance, it has it all from the i30N to the comfy sports seats, which are really snug, and it helps combat that firm suspension by keeping you in your place. But I don't think directly there is actually any other competitors, because it blows the rest out of the park. Even going round and roundabout, you can feel the front really tucking itself in, and the car feels very grounded. I'd love to get this on track to actually see what it really can do. And a fun fact with Hyundais as well, especially the N range, is in your new car warranty, you actually get covered on track. So most car manufacturers, if you take one of their cars on track, it voids the warranty completely. Hyundai doesn't, which kind of reinforces the fact they're built for track. The N's for Nürburgring, what more could you want? The whole cabin is actually a really, really nice place to be. You've got the splash of blue, which comes from the colour of the exterior. You've got a big red button, which always makes you feel sporty on the steering wheel. You've got a digital dash as well, a 10.5-inch screen, which has everything from sat-nav, radio, Apple CarPlay, everything you need on it. But it doesn't lose the fact it's a proper driver's car. So obviously you've got a 6-speed manual, but my favourite thing about this car, it has a proper handbrake. Hyundai haven't forgot the traditional drivers that are driving the cars like these, and they've given us what they want. You've got a handbrake. I mean, you could do a handbrake turn if you really wanted to. I have now found that magic button. The end on the right side of the steering wheel is the magic button. So it brings you all your lap timer, it turns ESC completely off. This is where you have the really unique driving modes. So in terms of engine steering, everything's sort of altered, and this is where you can really customise the car. But the setting it's on, it actually transformed the car. That is a lot of fun. It seems to pump a lot more noise through the speakers, but to be honest, that's not a bad thing, because the cockpit is so quiet because there's a lot of sound deadening in it that actually when you're outside, the exhaust is a lot louder. So it's nice to actually hear a little bit more and get more involved with your driving, because you can kind of hear where your revs are at, when you need to change and all that jazz as well. But this is the magic button. It has transformed the car. So there we have it, my first drive in the Hyundai i20N, and what a pocket rocket it is. It exceeded my expectations, and everything you've heard about it is true. Would I own one? Definitely. Do I want to track one? Oh, for sure. So hopefully this won't be the end of my experience with an i20N, but for now, you guys know the drill. To make my journey your journey, like, follow, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye!